pop culture reality podcast with Nelly and Sia.
The day has finally come. It is the big reunion, part 1 of The Real Housewives of Durban. When I say Durban got hot and hotter and hottest, this is the season, babe. Yo! And of course, I am your girl, Nelly. Never alone, always with the realist. Sia, baby. How you doing, boo?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a minute.
It's been a hot minute.
It's been a minute. We've been quite trying to figure out where we want to take the podcast, and I think we're at a good place now where the direction is definitely loud and clear. But we thought to finish what we started with the Real Housewives of Durban. If you can remember, we've been, tracking it nicely for you, and now we've come full second. It is part 1 of the reunion series hosted by Mable. For those of you who don't know Mable, he's quite prominent in the radio space, KZN vibes, Zulu vibes. You know what? Let me stop with the vibes because we know how sensitive things can get. Okay, let's go. There's a lot to tap into. There's a lot to talk about. I'm personally pissed off. I'm personally not impressed by anything. There's nothing that I can say, oh, wow, what a moment for me. That was a beautiful moment. Every single time I was cringed up.
Yeah.
I was mad.
You were mad.
Yeah. I was very irritated.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had so much to say. I had a book full of notes and I wanted to break it down. And I remember at some point, Sia said to me, don't be so turned up. Remember, it's just a show.
Maybe the point of view was this, it wasn't all bad.
But what do you think of Mable as a host?
I'm okay with him. Yeah, he wasn't swallowed.
I can definitely see that he studied a lot of Andy Cohen.
Yes, because he was lenient.
He's definitely one of those people that is very palatable watching on a screen, and definitely I like the way he expresses himself. He's very clear, but at the same time there are certain things that I want to pick out, but I don't want to get into it just yet because he's not really a cast member now, is he? Now let's just jump jump straight into one of my favorite topics from the reunion, which is Nonku's celibacy. Okay, and how it was handled. I know there were certain moments that were very alarming for when we were watching, because we were watching together, by the way. Particularly for me, how was it? Was such an unnecessary and uncalled for question towards Nonku as a woman who, has her own value. And it goes to the point that every woman has their own value, and every woman deserves to preserve discussions around her sexuality. Nobody has to be the one who feels compelled to come and raise the question 4 times or something. How was it? How will it help Mable if Nonku enjoyed breaking her celibacy? How will it help him? And that's one of the problems I have with Mable. Yeah. Like, he has that little bit of a thing that he wants to tackle with Nonku, but he doesn't quite get to the point. I think they might have a personal issue that we don't know about. And I think at this point it's very visible in that and I will just jump into the fact that Mable feels like he treats Slee and Nonku differently from this in part 1 of the reunion, right? If you can remember the part where Slee was being questioned about her children and leaving them for 6 years, and then having the nerve to call out Nonku for being a bad parent.
Oh yes,
right?
Yes, she did do that.
And Mable did tackle the situation, but it was so biased. It was so weird.
I think maybe the question that he should have asked was, what made you feel like you could talk to Nonku about parenting, whereas you didn't really have the opportunity to do that?
Yeah.
And you chose a particular way to parent, which was to leave your children with your ex-husband. You know? That's probably something that Nonku wouldn't do. Nonku would probably go and look for a place to stay and change her life with her kids. So it's like I feel like Mable's approach to the women was from a place of, this is what social media is saying, and not really to say, actually these are the questions, but how can you clarify them, or just have more of a conversation than just give me the quickest answer that you can think of without finding the nuance in it.
But my frustration with Mable is that he had his mind ready to fight Nonku. He didn't show the same energy for Slee when he was asking about two things that are private in the ladies' lives. Yes, we saw Slee's children, we saw Nonku's boyfriend, but at the same time, those were private conversations or private parts of their lives.
I get what you mean about him targeting Nonku, because he had a lot of follow-up questions for Nonku and not even one follow-up question for Slee. It was just like, so what happened with the kids? And Slee's answer was very like, oh, okay, we get it now. It's clear, like, oh, I didn't want to brood the kids and all of that, so it's fine. You know, it seems like a satisfactory answer to give, but I think if he wanted to, he would have really gone in and found out more and asked more questions.
Because since he's so interested in what the bloggers have to say, he could have spoken about the fact that people were saying Slee was with her aunt's husband, her late aunt's husband, when she passed away. Those are the rumors that we've heard, but we didn't hear him ask anything. But we let that slide because honestly, we don't really care about the private lives like that. But when you come to really, really poke at Nonku for wanting to keep her private life private, that makes me wonder, what are you up to? Because remember, it's a legal matter, like Nonku mentioned, and you still forced her to implicate herself.
I think there are a lot of things that he could have asked. Like, for example, I wouldn't necessarily push what did Ardi do, like, in terms of scamming you or anything like that. But I would look at, okay, so you posted yourself and Ardi after a big thing happened, and you said, Masiyoba Bulala.
I'm a gangster man. I'm a gangster man. Are you ready to murder somebody?
Like, you would ask about those questions, like, were you tone deaf, or did you not realize what was happening in Durban? You know,
tell me more about that post.
So Nonku, right after AK passed, she posted with Ardi, let's go kill them, you know, on Instagram, and people were still very much feeling like the tragedy happened in Durban. The brand is, you know, Real Housewives of Durban. So there's just that link in a way that I felt like she just...
It was a little bit... She didn't read the room.
Yeah.
She didn't show concern and the sensitivity of the situation. I see what you mean by
that.
that.
So I think, you know, Nonku, she's hurt with the relationship, and whatever happened in the relationship is a private matter. But there were public displays within that relationship that I feel do need to be addressed.
Do you think had Nonku at least prepared a full paragraph, a statement like Slee, like a full statement, yes, Mabler could have backed down?
Yes. So she didn't want to say anything, and Slee, like I said, had that, I did it because of 1, 2, 3, and it was a satisfactory answer. And then Nonku said, I don't want to talk about it.
And she finally spoke about it because Mabler kept pushing. Mabler was like going in hard.
Like, you're going to tell us something, because we're not happy that, you know, it happened like this for you, and, you know, he scammed you ultimately. But we want to know, like, do you realize the damage that you were putting out there by being in a relationship with this man?
Who is an Arabist and who's a convicted Arabist.
Yes.
And on top of that, people were really going for Nonku about the fact that she introduced her teenage daughter to him.
Yes. So besides the fact that even if they were still together, these are questions that we need answered, you know?
And, you know, it happens sometimes, like, I think, there are certain women in life who go for the bad boys, you know, and most of them are well-accomplished women. And we did speak about it earlier. Why do accomplished women seem to be stooping lower in their ranking for men who would be in their lives? We're looking at people like Nicki Minaj. If you don't know, Nicki Minaj's husband also is a convicted Arabist, right? And also we're looking at
the big scandal now. And Thabo Bester.
Yes.
Which is a similar
situation.
So I asked myself, like, what is this trend and this pattern? Because we're seeing quite a bit of it.
I think the lines between good and bad are becoming very blurred. And for those who are very, like, into Christian values, they would know in the Bible there's a scripture that talks about a time where good and bad will be blurred. People will know the difference. And I think this is one of those times, really. Great women are making this weird choice, you know?
You know how Nonku is such a juicy, meaty topic? Like, there's just a topic inside of a topic with her. But did you notice one of the tweets that said, we should have known with the car it's going to be a love scam?
Yeah.
And it's like...
You know, I know with you hate car gifts.
I don't like...
With a passion.
Also, that is a pattern. Like, we've seen so many people being bought cars, and then it doesn't end well. It never ends well.
It's not going to end well because it's not well, you know? But I hear you, there are red flags, ladies, especially if you're doing well in your career. In South Africa right now, things are really rough around the edges. So be very careful about opportunistic people coming for your moolah in the name of love. Can we then move on from that quickly? All right, let's touch on a new character that we've come to know, and the dynamics between him and Maria. And I'm talking about Ruan. What a darling.
Yeah, I think he's so sweet. Like, I really like Ruan, and he doesn't even talk that much to be in so much drama.
He nods that much.
Like, all he does is nod, and he's in so much drama.
I think the way things went down with Ruan this particular episode in the reunion, for me, I felt like Maria showed us who she really is, which is the petty woman that we saw on the earlier episodes, where she was showing Sorisha so much hate and talking behind Sorisha's back and wanting to claim the Indian queen throne. Weird, okay? The fact that Maria keeps bringing out the worst in people, and the fact that she hated Nonku for no apparent reason. There was nothing that Nonku had done to her before Nonku started calling her big lips, which is body shaming. But no, we don't condone that. At the same time, Maria is the type of woman who, when she is angry, she will slay people with names as well. Because she said Nonku's lips look like a truck's tire.
Yeah, she did.
Like, I was like, what?
She did say that.
She also said...
Before she said what she said, which was like, you say it, girl.
I didn't want to say it, but oh my God. Because in case I don't know, I go off on this one. But I didn't want to say it. Floating dildo. Those of you who don't know, a dildo is a resemblance of a male private part. How dare does Maria call Ruan a floating dildo?
For me, it's like, what does that even mean?
You were saying it feels homophobic.
It does feel homophobic because, like, I mean, a dildo resembles a male genital. So floating, I don't know. I just felt like, I don't know what it means, but if it's an insult, it's probably homophobic.
No one knew what it meant. A pin could have dropped in that room and somebody would have heard it drop because it was so tense in that moment.
Why didn't anybody ask? Because we still want to know, like, what is my Busi vibes? What is a floating dildo? Because we want to know what that is.
This is the reason why I'm saying Mable had his thing out for Nonku. There are certain people that he let loose, and this Maria character started crying, right? And for me, it shows signs of a narcissist, like the fact that she starts with insulting someone. Insults are belittling, first of all, right? And then she blames the victim. You chose people. And then she talks about how Ruan met everyone. It was through an interview.
Yes, right.
Is she dumb? I mean, everybody wants to be on that show. So what is she doing calling out Ruan for trying to be on the show?
I like when you say she just started talking and kept on going. She ran with the conversation because she was feeling the heat was coming onto her, because now it was being exposed that she didn't like Sorisha to begin with.
And she might be homophobic because she's talking about floating dildos.
Right, but listen to this. The whole thing was because of Sorisha now is going to find out that she was talking about her behind her back.
Oh, and she did. I forgot.
Jojo was ready to stand on it, right? And said, Ru, you were there, right? So because Ruan didn't want to implicate Maria, he said, no, I don't remember, right? But then Maria went on to say, what does he remember?
He's a floating dildo.
Yes, to like, let's discredit anything Ruan is gonna say, because anyway, Ruan betrayed me and everything. Right? So then Ruan comes back to say, actually, on Mas.
Was it after the tears?
That's
she
before,
left.
That's before the tears.
Remember, she left to go cry for a while, crying drama. On cue.
So then she calls Ruan a floating dildo to keep him quiet. So then he gets pissed, like, oh, I'm trying to protect you here. Actually, I do remember saying those things, right? You are mad because I chose Jojo. What she then does is just take those chose Jojo things and then, Mable, because Mable has picked a side. He asks, so you chose Jojo, right? To justify.
You chose fun.
Yes,
that's what he said.
You chose fun over...
Motherhood.
So mother said, thank you, I'm gonna run with this, I'm gonna start crying, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna go.
Mother was saved.
It had nothing to do with Ruan. She came back and said, it's not even about Ruan, it's about the body shaming. I said, it's 5 topics.
But remember, Ocean Wade also said...
Who?
Ocean Wade. When Maria left, Ocean Wade is the person who was talking. She said, Maria loved you, she was there for you, be careful of this corner that you're trying to be in. Ocean Wade.
Why are you calling her that?
If you want want to find out who Ocean Weed is, find out later, because we'll be giving the top 10 countdown of the reunion. Best dressed, honey.
What is my Boosie Vibes? What is a floating dildo? And what is Ocean Weed? Questions.
The question is not what is Ocean Weed. The question is who is Ocean Weed, honey.
Who is Ocean Weed?
Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on right to the fact that we are so annoyed with Sunny, right?
Yes.
Who brought her? Everybody else is accounted for. Maria is accounted for because we know she's brought by Jojo. Slee is accounted for because we know she's brought by Nonku, right?
Yes.
And Ruan, we know that he is accounted for because he's brought in by Jojo as well, right? To be friend to the show, and who happens to be friends with also who? Mariah, who's now a cast member, right? Sane, who the heck brought you to the show, honey?
So Risha, because she's the one who invited her to her event.
So Risha is a fire starter with.
Yeah, and it's interesting because then she was like, so mean, like, I don't know her. I just called her, like, I just invited her, like.
So
yeah.
Risha's new personality for me. She and Annie were giggling the whole reunion, like they were really on a, like, I don't know what, excitement or whatever, but I don't want to say much, but it was a little bit weird and unnatural, but yeah, it was what it was. Giggling. Everything was giggly. Even Nonku was like, that's not funny, that's bullying.
Even Jojo
said it, yeah.
I think, like you said, they're a bit fake because we know that they're not even going to talk after the season until the next season, because that's what they did the previous season.
Yes.
And we all know that they were mad that Jojo and Nonku were as close as they were.
Yeah.
Then Mable, our friend, tried to make it seem as if Jojo and Nonku were jealous of the other friendship.
Oh yeah.
And they never were. Ever.
Ever. They were never there. Even at the reunion, they said they were so happy.
They were never, ever.
The people who were jealous were very clear, and we know why they were jealous. The whole season, they were first of all jealous because Jojo's man loves her to bits. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't lift a finger, and she is spoiled for rotten, and she gets all the quality time, and we know that the two ladies are not getting the quality time. Understand? So they are jealous of Nonku because Nonku is this person who is very confident and bubbly, right? And people gravitate towards her, but it doesn't accept the fact that Nonku has a foul side to her that disrupts people's personalities and make them be so angry and have so much animosity towards her that they explode in such a nasty way. That means Nonku has a power to trigger people. Okay, but what happened to Nonku with RT is really a sad thing because most women choose, you know, to be in the situation, unfortunately, because the two ladies said, which is Slee and Mbali, they warned her to not do certain things like introducing her child to this man or children to this man. And now, and everybody else who are screaming on social media, don't do it! Don't do it! Don't run!
I think also what happened with her was that she was spending a lot of time with Jojo and Calvin and felt like it's possible. This is the kind of love that I want to have. And then it was a perfect opportunity for Aridi to just swoop in, you know, because she was already in her fairy tale thoughts. And you know how when you've been fasting, you think like that's an answered prayer, right? So she was celibate. Here comes this man, you know, he seems to be a changed man who is so in love with her. Yes, on all the flaws, but you know, he's changed, whatever.
Yeah.
So I can, like, you know, sometimes we must also be aware that prayers will be answered, but they're not always answered like immediately, or just because I did this, then my answer is my prayer is answered. So I think she got tricked by that, her celibacy and all of that. Maybe that's why even the question was a bit triggering, because she knows that was part of her opening up to RD.
Do you think it has to do with being spiritual? Because, you know, spirituality, sometimes I think people are so in their heads about their own spirituality that they forget their objectivity. And at times we wake up after a while and realize that the decisions we took were never really spiritual but egoic.
Yes.
And we wanted to serve a particular yearning within ourselves. And I think that's what happened in the situation. I could be wrong, but at the same time it feels oddly fitted to that type of mentality.
Yes, because like I can relate to, you know, the times where I've been like delusional because I did my affirmations, so it means that this is true love, or you know, and then it's like no girl, you know, no. But sometimes really that happens before the real blessing. It's not that the prayer that you prayed won't be answered. Her prayer will be answered. It's you know, the devil's always trying to get in God's plan somehow. Or like, let me get quick before God gets there, because you know God is not in a rush, you know. So but the devil will be like,
time is a stubborn illusion. It's nothing real, like Einstein said. It's nothing tangible that we put ourselves so much under pressure. If you feel you're getting old as a woman and you think because you're old now, you need to be paired up with a man. And in your life, when you look around in your eligible bachelors, there's really nobody who's quite a connection for you. But you say, okay, this one is close. I mean, all he has is a criminal record, and all he did was someone. So let me try him. If that's the standard, ask yourself, why is that the standard?
God forgive, and then you convince yourself God is a forgiver. Also, me, I'm not perfect. You start thinking those things, and then it's like, no.
But I love how Jojo comforted her throughout the process, where I felt Mablair was just draining out the emotions out of Nonku at that time. He was drilling her, and Jojo was there, quite strong, quite comforting as a friend, and reaffirming her friend to say, not all men are bad. There's going to be somebody for you. And I like that she was like, I was happy for my friend, because I know she was so closed out. Because now I am a lot like Nonku in that I'm closed out. If I get to be with a guy, Sia, it's just a miracle, because I really don't like people in my space like that. Even boyfriends, even potential husbands. Like for me, I always question a person's intention. So sometimes when you let your guard down, and recently it happened to me, I almost really got swindled, right? When you let your guard down, you want to believe what you want to believe. It may not be in the situation where somebody was a convicted rapist or anything like that, but the fact of the matter is the person was a swindler. And sometimes when you're a woman and you're pushing your own life and your own agenda, somebody who's a swindler looks at you as a target, and they will pursue you and try to milk you of your shine as much as possible. And we're seeing this happen to her, and she doesn't know how she got where she is. And I'm not making excuses for her, because I don't like the fact that this guy was arrested for this particular subject matter. For me, it talks about character of this guy. And I want to say the ladies are all mature, but really a lot of them need to grow up. Really, this is really weird.
And really to think sometimes, like we really need to think. But I can also sympathize with the vulnerability sometimes. It really takes over, and then the thinking mind is the furthest thing. We just want to feel like a level of soothing,
magical realism, like this is actually happening to me. Oh wow, I'm in heaven.
Yes, we want to be wowed all the time. So I think that's sometimes you overlook certain things because it's like, oh, but at least a young cushion.
Yeah,
sometimes that's what you want, and then to your detriment. Yeah.
Okay, I think we've offloaded everything. I would just like to say I'm just so happy with Jojo. I love how Jojo conducted herself in the reunion, part 1. I can't wait to see. Any highlights to expect from part 2?
Definitely Mablair asking Slee about the other man. I saw that coming. So I want to hear that. Like, what is she going to say? And I wonder if they're going to ask Annie about the man.
The Kulu.
Yes. And I wonder if they're going to ask Sorisha about the man. So I'm really interested.
Oh yeah, did you see that Annie and the man went to the Maldives?
Yes, I saw them.
So I guess the rumors that Sunny is trying to drop of them being broke are not so true. Hey, oh maybe, who knows?
Guys.
And brother, don't buy no flowers, honey, because that's cheap.
Yeah, he said. So guys, when you're damba, guys.
I love it when you do that voice. So at this point, we've just had such a blast breaking it down. That was the reaction, but we don't want to leave you hot and dry without the fashion and beauty recap, honey.
And that will follow after part 2 reaction.
So guys, that brings us to the end of our reaction video. We hope that you enjoyed what we had to talk about today. If you have your comments, leave them on the comment section. We really respect you as a person who takes time to listen to us.
Bye for now. Love you. Pop Culture Reality Podcast with Nelly and Sia.